Hi all, here we are back again at Iramu Community Centre for Cooking Around the World. Here we go for another one. Today we're doing Turkish bread with spicy lamb and eggs. Sort of like almost like a Turkish version of a pizza, an Aussie pizza, with your egg on top. We put some pineapple, no pineapple on this one. This is all our ingredients for this one. We're using lamb mince, some Moroccan spices and all this sort of stuff. We've got some coriander, our Turkish bread which we'll make it on, and eggs for the top. What we're going to start with today though, we've possibly done this before, done it on video, I'm not quite sure. We're going to toast some pine nuts very quickly for you. So we're bringing our pan up to heat here. Chuck in some pine nuts, just a dry pan. You can never have too many pine nuts in your dish, and get a nice bit of heat under that. And we'll just get them ready to toast off. If you do, well, when you're doing pine nuts, do not walk away from the pan. Always stay with it. Keep your mindset going, because once they come to temperature, they'll burn very quickly. So, Joe, you'll help me with that one.
That's probably my problem at home.
We'll just flick them around a bit so they're turning over and not burning just at the moment. They're just warming up. Beautiful. And from a straight pine nut from a natural pine nut to a toasted pine nut, the flavour is just a world away. Toasted pine nuts are beautiful. It's like coconut. You have straight coconut, desiccated coconut, or you toast it off. Toasted coconut, sensational flavour. Same with any of these things. So we keep these moving in the pan. It's just starting to brown up now. See, there's a few little brown bits. This is how quickly it browns up, and if you walk away from it, you can burn it very, very quickly. Just give it just a little bit of brown. That's all it needs. Just the tiniest bit of brown on these things, and that activates this lovely toasted flavour in the pine nuts. Doesn't need to go too much further. Keep your eye on that for me, please, Joe. I'll just chop one onion here. Have a look at there, Joe.
Yep.
Spin it.
Yep.
Okay. You can see the colour in there now.
Yeah.
And that we don't need to do that much further. By the heat of the pan, now the residual heat in the pan, we'll be finishing this off without putting it on the flame. Okay, I'm going to take them off. Just put them onto a plate to cool before you use them. Oh, just the toasty smell that's come off that straight away, it's amazing. Let the heat down a wee bit there.
Nice and golden.
Yeah. Now, over here, just going to chop up one onion. Doesn't have to be too finely chopped. It's going to go into our spicy mince mixture. Okay, our pan's nice and warm, so we'll get a little bit of oil in there. Just extra virgin olive oil for this one. While that's going to temperature, we get a couple of cloves of garlic ready. I always prefer to cook my onions first before I throw the garlic in. If you throw the garlic in too early, it can burn. And when garlic burns, it goes bitter and horrible. Okay, just look out the hole. Nice and hot in there. Just laying down a touch. Okay. So just give that a little bit of colour to start with. In the meantime, do 2 cloves of garlic for it. Oop, bash it with the back of your knife and send stuff flying everywhere. Okay, cool. Make sure you get all the shell off it, the skin. Quick, fine chop. Get that garlic in. Okay. Just quickly stir that garlic through. As I said, you just want to just get that garlic cooked, but not burnt. Otherwise, it'll just add an awful flavour to it. And that's just about ready. We'll get in our Moroccan seasoning. Now, Moroccan seasoning, you can just buy like one of those brands, just the powder. I've got a very groovy one here, Masters of Spices from my local greengrocer. They have a whole lot of interesting things like that. Just quickly, you can use those ones, or I just went online and just looked up recipes for spice mix, and if you did your own, it's very, very simple to do them. Doesn't take a lot of ingredients, and they're probably a hell of a lot better for you. These ones are loaded with salt and sugar and all that sort of stuff. That's probably why they taste so good, because they're loaded with salt and sugar. But just for the speed of this, just for ease of all this, we will use one of these. I think we should use this one, eh, Joe?
Yeah.
If I can get the packet open.
It's always the skill, isn't it?
Too hard. I'm taking the whole top of it. No wrestling match. Okay, about a tablespoon will be about that much. Interestingly, this recipe also asks you to add a bit more than just that spice mix. They've asked for a couple of teaspoons of just a bit of cumin. But I won't use 2 teaspoons, I'll just use 1, I think. And if necessary, we can add more later. But more importantly, smoked paprika. This will be the real big flavour in there, the smoked paprika. So we chuck in the 2 teaspoons, yeah, 2 teaspoons. There we go. Smoked paprika. Stir that through. Just cook our spices out a little bit. Don't want your spices just raw, your powders, so we just move them around the pan, cook them out a little bit, help release all the flavours. Oh, that's just toasted pine nuts.
I know, those pine nuts.
Smell them from here, yeah. Quite often, when I toast up pine nuts or slivered almonds or almond flakes, whatever, I have to cook extra, because while I'm cooking, I'll be nibbling away at them, because it just tastes and smells fantastic. Okay, we're now going to introduce our lamb. Try and break this up a little bit as we go in. My debris field. Bits and pieces flying everywhere here. We'll clean that up in a moment. Yeah, this is an issue. At home, the cat would collect that.
We don't have a cat here. It's got a blue tongue, but...
Are they still around?
Yes.
That's a blue tongue in. You'll come and clean up these little scraps. Okay. Let me quickly wash my hands. So just try and break some of those lumps up a bit further with the spoon. as we cook this out. Use a wooden spoon, so it's easier than this one. So we just give this a few moments to cook out, and we'll be right back. Okay, here we are back here. This is cooked down now. It's the mince is all browning up. This is what we just want to get the initial cook going there. Perfect. In the meantime, we've got to add some lemon zest to our dish. So you can actually get a zester. If you don't have a zester, just get a potato peeler. This is a preferred method of mine, because instead of just really thin wispy bits of zest, you get nice big chunks. And as this cooks through, it'll impart a fantastic flavour to it, but also you get little bursts of lemon as you're going. Let's chop that down into little bits. We can add more to that in a minute. Also, we have one red capsicum. I've cut into strips. We'll cut it also down into little cubes, into a dice. Okay, that can all go in. Okay, with quite a bit of oil had come out of the lamb. As our lamb is a fairly fatty meat, and that's now all cooking away and starting to dry up in there, which is a good thing. Remember, this is going onto a Turkish bread, so we don't want it too runny. Otherwise, I'll just make the bread go soggy.
And it'll run off.
Now, this hadn't had a lot of cooking time on the capsicum at this stage, all those little lemony shards, but it's going to go into the oven for about 15-20 minutes yet, so that'll help cook it and collapse those pieces of capsicum in there as we go. Right, looking good.
Smells good.
I'm just going to add a little bit of seasoning, dash of salt, dash of pepper. That through. Excellent. You can see how that is drying up quite a bit there now. It's actually quite glossy with that little bit of lamb fat that's still in there. Quickly taste it. Ah, now we're talking. We'll add just a fraction more cumin into the mix. That might have been right, two teaspoons, yep, probably a good thing. And I want to add a little bit more of the smoked paprika too. I love smoked paprika. Sensational. Okay, oh, smell of the smoked paprika, amazing. Okay, we'll just clean down and we'll put our Turkish bread, the spicy lamb breads together, and we'll come back in a few moments. Okay, here we are. What we have to do now, I added, as per recipe, just a squeeze of lemon juice, which will work with our lemon zest. I could have added a lot more lemon zest, but you can do that at home. By the way, I'm only using 500 grams of lamb mince. The recipe calls for 750 grams, and I'll make obviously a bigger amount. We're only feeding 4 tiny little people here for lunch, so we don't want to make tons. What I have to do, stir through some coriander for a nice bit of freshness. Add a little bit there for decoration later.
Just for Gary.
Just for I know, Gary. Did we get a reply from him from last?
I'm not sure.
Okay. That's ready to go now. We checked it for seasoning, put in a nice little amount of salt and some pepper, cracked black pepper onto that. So that's now seasoned and ready to go. As I said, that has another 15-20 minutes in the oven, so we're all good. Now, I've got our Turkish bread, which looks like that. All right. Put the knife through it and halved it. Now what we're going to do is we just take an olive oil spray. All right, I've got different brands here, just testing them out. Some of them, as I found, just a little aside, I also have this one in my kit. Some of them go quite foamy when you spray these olive oil sprays. They're quite foamy, and they will, that will die away. But it's a bit off-putting when it just has white foam over the top. As I noticed, these other brands, just generic ones from Coles or Woolies, just look like oil sprayed and not big foamy top on it. So, what's this one? So we just quickly spray our bread first. Not using any butter or anything. Quick spray of olive oil. Now we're going to spoon our lamb, our spicy lamb mix. And by the way, this has only got the basic little spices that were in this mix. There is at this point no chili or no extra heat at all. And if you wanted to, of course, you can add a little bit of extra heat, which I would probably do at home. Get a good layer of this on. Try not to fall over the edges. Actually, should have done this on the tray, shouldn't I? On our trays. We learn as we go here, folks. Probably easier to do it on the baking tray, on top of the grease-proof paper. I'm trying to get this not to fall over the edge. Perfect. Now, as you saw, I didn't use the entire Turkish loaf for this. This will give us 4 decent-sized lunch serves. Next thing we do, the back of a spoon, we make 4 indentations. Now, I've pre-cracked some eggs here. Probably would have been easier if I had, if you used 600 gram eggs, which are a little bit smaller, because these, oh hang on, before I even attempt to do that, let's get these on the tray. Ah! And that's what happens otherwise. I'll get a spatula. That's yours, Joe. That's better. We'll glue it together with the egg, I think.
Yeah.
Now, in the indentation, you pop an egg. Sorry about that. Can you get that? That will run out. So probably easier if you use 600 grams. These are 700 gram packs. They're slightly bigger eggs. But it's all part of the rustic nature. It'll just go everywhere. Beautiful. There we go. Give it another little spray with our olive oil over the eggs. And we'll pop them in the oven. We'll give them about 15 minutes or so until the whites have cooked through and the white's not gelatinous anymore. We want a little bit of run if you can, if you like it that way. We want the yellows to run a little bit, which would be excellent. Part of the theatre. Cut them in. If you don't want the eggs to run, just leave it a little bit longer until the yellows go are fully cooked. Yeah. And you know what I forgot? We'll sprinkle these on now. And we'll use them as garnish over the top. Joe, you forgot to tell me. Okay, these will go in the oven now and we'll be back in 15-20 minutes.